Welcome to Speaking Cinema, serious movie Jibber Jabber, a movie podcast coming to you live from the snowy, desolate hills of Hollywood, California. For the record, Hollywood, neither snowy nor desolate.
Currently raining, not snowing.
And very unusual for this time of year.
Yes, it is.
The dead of winter for it to be raining. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Speaking Cinema. Listen on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and on your grandpappy's gramophone. I am your host, California hangman himself, Mr. Jibber Jabber, and my co-host Kevin, who'll pour you a mean glass of moonshine for one buffalo nickel.
Boy, howdy.
This time on the Jibber Jabber, spend the holidays with someone you hate. 2015's The Hateful Eight, our final film for the year of 2015. Going out with a bang.
Yes, we are. This is gonna be... I'm jacked. I'm excited.
You're...
Hateful, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, you seem to be...
I'm 8?
You seem to be in a good mood about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no pun.
Alright. I thought you were going for a pun.
No. Yeah, I couldn't spin it. Couldn't do it.
I tried.
Starring Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Walter Goggins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tim Roth, Zoe Bell, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern. Written, directed by Quentin Tarantino. Produced and distribution, The Weinstein Company. If you're not familiar, in a post-Civil War Wyoming, bounty hunters try to find shelter during a blizzard, but get involved in a plot of betrayal and deception. My kind of movie.
Love it.
Tarantino's 8th feature film, his second Western following Django Unchained. One could argue that Kill Bill Volume 2 is a Western, but we're not gonna, for sake of argument, we're not gonna go there. He announced he was writing this film in early 2014. He gave it to 8 people, and somehow the script still leaked online.
Way to go, Tim Roth, agent. Allegedly.
Is that what happened?
That's the alleged word.
Oh, interesting. I was
Potentially
thinking,
Bruce Dern.
I was thinking it was Bruce Dern. That's what I heard.
Alright.
But again,
Allegedly.
These are allegedly. And allegedly, one of us may have read the script. Allegedly. What's not allegedly, Tarantino considered dropping the film altogether after it was leaked. After a staged live reading of the script, right here in LA, right at the Ace Hotel, where I used to live right next to, but it couldn't go because the tickets were goddamn expensive.
Yes, this one was $200 to go to this
to $200. And what are you getting? Watching people read a script.
for a movie that has not been made.
Right. So, the word on the street is that the script has been tweaked and rewritten, and then it was revived, and now it's coming out.
Just in time for the holidays.
Let's get it right into it, Kev. Did you read the leak script?
I did not.
Interesting.
And I avoid those leaks. For a reason that they are not... You never know what draft it is. It's not something that was meant to be seen by anybody other than the talent involved. Mm-hmm. So I tend to avoid those until at least after the movie has come out. Then I try and maybe find the script online.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's like... You can't judge something that was never meant to be seen in the first place. I think... When it comes to movies.
Right. I mean, yeah, like, there's, like, famously, I think, there's some reviews of, like, Hostel 2 that were based on, like, work prints that were leaked to the, online. It's like, yeah, that's a weird thing to do.
Exactly.
But then, supposedly, he's reworked it, so it's gonna, and, the Roadshow version is 3 hours long. We'll get to that in a minute. Filming began this year on a ranch in Colorado. Tarantino reportedly kept the set a brisk 30 degrees to get the actors in the right mindset of being stuck in a freezing cold environment. Just like John Carpenter did on The Thing.
Yes.
I was listening to an interview with Samuel L. Jackson, and he's like, yeah, so we're all in this room, and the heat's coming from the fireplace, and then there's a stove, in the middle. And he's like, so everyone wanted to, be blocked right next to that fireplace. And a lot of people were cold during this movie.
The cold does different things to you. It makes you think differently. It makes you move differently. I think that was we'll see in this movie, but I think that was a smart decision.
And I'm not a big fan of, like, putting people in dangerous situations. I don't think it's necessary to, like, put an actor off the side of a building if you don't have to. But, like, something like this I think is cool, right? Where you're just refrigerating the set. That's cool.
It's literally cool.
How dare you, but yes. But how dare you.
And this movie is also, similar to The Thing, going to have an original score by Ennio Morricone, legendary composer. He did Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, really?
The Thing.
Wow.
You know, he came up with the.
I didn't know that guy was still alive. That was actually
Morricone.
That was pretty good.
He got a Lifetime Achievement Oscar a couple years ago.
Deservedly so.
Deservedly. But yeah, he's still making scores, still out there doing things, and he's a legend. Absolutely. You listen to any of his scores and they're iconic. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And Tarantino's he's used some of his snippets of scores and songs he's written in his movies. So
yeah,
he wrote an original song for Django Unchained.
Interesting, because Tarantino is very known for using existing material to populate his movies. Yep. I mean, in a literal way, like Pulp Fiction is just songs from the 70s and stuff, but like you get like Django and he's using music from other people's westerns.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really interesting.
You get Inglourious Bastards and he has a David Bowie song.
Yeah.
In it,
I think there's a Rick Ross song in.
Yeah, there's a Rick Ross. Dude, 100 Black Coffins. That's my jam.
Big Rick Ross guy, huh?
No, just that song.
No.
Rick Ross in general, but 100 Black Coffins, 100 times over. But yeah, this is his first top to bottom original score in a film.
Wow.
So yeah, that's interesting territory. We'll see how it goes. You couldn't pick anybody better than Morricone.
It's a lot of interesting territory. On the visual side, the film was shot in 70mm using lenses, ultra wide lens, 70mm lenses, not used since the days of Ben-Hur. The film will get a wide release, 70mm. 50 theaters worldwide are going to be retrofitted to show the movie in its 70mm proper aspect ratio. The roadshow experience, 3 hours in length, 12-minute intermission.
An overture?
At the beginning.
Yes.
That's going to be an experience.
It's going to, hopefully that gets asses in seats. Like the way we used to watch movies.
Is he going to play the new Bev?
Potentially new Bev. I've heard rumors of the Landmark on Pico because they have a screen that's already ready to go for 70mm.
The one that's in the mall? Is that the Landmark?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw The Master there in 70mm. And it was fantastic.
So getting further into LA talk. Do you think it'll play at the retrofit the Greek and just play it there? Or?
Only if I can go to Randy's first.
Nice. Touche. As of this recording, The Hateful Eight is playing in theaters. Go find one of those 70mm screenings, put your ass in that seat, and fucking watch it. Nothing more to be said than that.
It was meant to be seen that way.
Unique experience. Although, did you see Interstellar in 70mm?
Yeah, because we saw it at Grauman's.
Oh, yeah, that was all of us, yeah.
Yep.
I forget who was there, because I did not enjoy that. So all I remember from that experience is just thumping bass.
The visuals of that.
Bum, 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 bum. And also, that print was fucking dirty.
Oh, that was a dirty print.
And Joel got a refunded ticket for all of us.
Did he?
He's like, I went to this thing in LA, and they gave him like 10 free tickets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for Joel.
Good for him. But
don't judge it by that movie. That movie sucks.
Calling you out, Christopher Nolan. Your fucking movie was dirty.
You fucked that one up, Noel. But dude, The Master in 70mm, that was an experience.
So clearly, we've all heard of this movie. Clearly, some of us may or may not have read the script. Clearly, we're a fan of Tarantino. But Kev, talk about your fandom of Tarantino.
So I think a lot of people, they fuck up when they talk about Tarantino. Because all they focus on is like the violence and the witticisms and just the overall like controversial nature of his movies.
There's a lot of praise and a lot of damning of him, and everyone has his own opinion, and some people have seen his movies, some people haven't. You know what I mean? But like the conversation around him is always. It's always a churning kind of thing. When he first came out, he was really cool, and then it was like now his fandom is lame, and now like kind of pop culture fandom has kind of come back, so now he's cool again, and then
it spawned millions of imitators who imitated only the violence, the witticisms, the pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all they really took. What they never took, and what I think is what makes Tarantino a master, is he speaks cinema. His cinematic language, the way he uses the camera, the way he edits, the way he sound designs, the way his actors perform is unparalleled. Mm-hmm. And I think that is why, he has these long zoom-in shots of people's faces, but that'll tell you a million more things than like a bunch of cuts or lines of dialogue.
Right.
The opening scene of Inglourious Bastards is a great example of that. And then he's a master of genre as well. Like, not just the tone, not just the tropes of the genre, but the way it's filmed, the way they're put together, and then he also knows how to flip that to make it interesting. He has the female protagonist in the Kung Fu movie, in Kill Bill 1 and Kill Bill 2. He's got the black outlaw in Django Unchained. But the way he can construct his movies, he makes movies. He makes films. And in a way that nobody else really gets close.
Oh, sorry.
And, people say, he steals a lot of shots and he does that. It's like, well, if you're going to steal, and everybody does steal from the best. Right. And he knows how to use those shots to tell his story. And his stories are very unique, I think.
I have a lot to say about what you just said. I mean, I think in the carny world of movie making, people steal. The reality is that people steal a lot, but they don't want to talk about it, right? Because it's the idea that, hey, I'm actually a genius. I didn't steal anything. Like, slasher movies are all influenced by Gala movies. Gala movies are all reactionary to this. You know what I mean? Like, this is all based off of that. You know what I mean? Like, Star Wars owes its a term of debt to fantasy movies and to samurai movies, into westerns. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it all influenced. Westerns are basically samurai movies. You know what I mean? Like, it's all to act. There's this false notion that it's all in a vacuum, and that's to perpetuate the idea that people are geniuses. Yeah. And this is a guy who's like, I am a genius, but hey, I have my influences, and here they are. You know what I mean?
He says it nakedly. He's like, this is my Brian De Palma shot. This is my, Sergio Leone shot. Mm-hmm. Like, but he knows how to use those in a way that makes sense on camera. He's not just pulling them out of his ass.
Right. And I think a lot of people, they look at him like he's like, they try to fetishize what he does, right? Like what you're saying, like the rip-offs of making something that's pop culturally or violent. But the thing is that Tarantino's characters are one of the through lines through his whole career is that it's always about the nature of violent people, right? So in Reservoir Dogs, it's like these violent men. They're all bad guys, but they do have a code of honor, or some of them do. You know what I mean? And in contrasted to Kill Bill, where it's a violent person, but then when she finds out she's a mother, it changes everything about her whole life, right? And then she has to use her powers to get back her kid, and then presumably give up that life. You know what I mean? Like she's only going to use her violent tendencies to get the thing that was stolen from her back. You know what I mean? In Django, it was like he loves this woman and he's gonna he'll use violence. It's about the nature of violence and how it affects people. You know what I mean? So it's like I think people lose that when they rip him off. They don't understand. They're making something really violent, but they don't really know why. Yeah. They just know it's cool. But why is it cool? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Tarantino himself, he's a very controversial guy. He says things, and he's highly quotable. He's just like he's an interesting dude. But like
he said, I'd rather stick my dick in my Nintendo than use CGI. which I think is great. See, but I'm going to put that on the Christmas card this year.
But the thing about him is that I do think that all of that comes from a place of nostalgia and not a place of logic, right? Like him and fucking Spielberg and all these guys who are the film fetishists, right? The guys who are like 35, it's the best. And why is it the best? Oh, it has the most clarity. Oh, if that's true, which it is, right? 35 millimeter is equivalent. You got like a HD signal, 1080 resolution, right? Film is equivalent to like a 4K resolution, give or take, right?
And then Tarantino and Robert Richardson, his DP, claimed that the 70 millimeter would be the equivalent of like a 12K. And in terms of resolution and clarity.
Right, and some people, depending on the film stock you use, maybe it's between 8 and 12, whatever, right? Sure. After a while, the human eye can only see so much, so it's like, we can do 1000K, but it's like you're not going to be able to see that level of depth. But like, sure, that's fine. But at the same time, Tarantino is always also the guy who's like, but then the film has all these scratches and stuff, and it's an organic experience. It's like, you can't have both. Those things are mutually exclusive. It can't be this organic, ever-evolving thing, right, that has its own scratches and its pops and its cigarette burns and all this shit, and at the same time be the most superior technological thing, right? Like, those two things are at odds with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see a movie with scratches and pops and shit. I want it to look perfect. And I did see Singing in the Rain in 35 millimeter at the New Bev, and 2 minutes of fucking footage were lost. The audio all dropped out. You know what I mean? It's like, that sucks. I want to hear that audio. You know what I mean?
That's a joke in Singing in the Rain.
It was the scene right before.
That was the most meta screening you've ever been to.
It was. It was the scene right before Good Morning.
Well, you can't lose Good Morning.
When the song started, it came back in, but all that dialogue was lost.
Yeah, see, what's that?
That sucks.
Shit.
You know what I mean? So, and also, in a recent interview, he said he tapes stuff off TV still on VHS tapes, which is just like, that is insanity.
You know, nobody should be nostalgic for VHS. That's the worst format.
You know, and I think a lot of things, like, you know, like, does vinyl technically sound better than like a CD or an MP3? I'm sure it does. Do the cheap headphones that I buy from Target, are they gonna have that full range of sound? No. Because I buy Skull Candy, whatever's on sale, homie. Skull Candy, whatever's on sale. So
that should be their slogan. when you can't afford Bose, Skull Candy.
So I think he incites a controversy because he says things in a definitive way, but it's like, no, dude, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not a film. I don't hate film. I don't hate digital. I think they are what they are. I don't hate CG. I don't hate practical effects. I like everything, right? And Tarantino is the guy who knows how to work in film and knows how to work in practical effects. Great. Make those movies, do your thing. But there's this idea that he said recently, he's like, I'm only going to play movies at 35mm at the New Beverly, so if you're a new director, just tell the studio exec that you need a 35mm print for your personal collection. It's like, homie, we're not all friends with Harvey Weinstein. You know what I mean? Like, if you're some Joe Schmo, you can't go to Tom Rothman at Sony and be like, hey, give me a 35mm print of my movie, the director's cut. He's going to say, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
He's not going to spend $10,000 to make you that.
Yeah, because they don't care. So it's like, I think he sees the world through his own lens, and it's like, but I'm not you. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't say like, oh, 35mm. It's like, yeah, but I don't have a movie theater I can just play all my movies, my 35mm collection at. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I like Tarantino. I look forward to his movies. And in my own personal experience, like, you know, seeing Reservoir Dogs changed my life. Like, literally. Like, I was in high school, heard about this movie Reservoir Dogs, everyone talking about it, rented it from Blockbuster, watched it. My mind was blown. I didn't know you could do it this way. I didn't know that a story could be told this way. It was like seeing a movie for the first time, right? You know, it was incredible. The next day I was supposed to hang out with a girl who I had the hots for, and instead of we were alone in my house, and instead of trying to make a move on her, I'm like, listen, dude, you gotta watch this movie. This is fucking amazing. And then we watched it, and she's like, damn, that movie was amazing. And I was like, yeah.
Did you do it afterwards?
I did not.
Man, what the hell are you doing?
I had to watch it again. So, I'm no Tarantino hater. I love his movies. You know, some of them I don't love as much as other ones, but it is what it is.
You would never be buddies with the guy.
No, I would be buddies with the guy because
me and him would be too.
Because me and him, like, you know,
he goes to Amoeba Records a lot.
Oh, does he?
According to the clerks I talk to at Amoeba Records.
Oh, you're on a one-on-one conversation with the clerks.
You know, I go there a lot.
That's true.
I spend a lot of scratch.
But you know, and I'm sure he's just sucking up that VHS collection. But like, he loves movies in the same way I love movies, where he loves Cannibal Holocaust and Singing in the Rain, and I have that level of love of all genres, right? There's no genre that's like, there's nothing here for me. You know
he put The Lone Ranger in his top 10.
And we both like that movie.
We both like The Lone Ranger.
Yeah, so I think I would get along with him in terms of friends, you know what I mean? And like, you know, again, like, does it make him a bad person because his views on film are contradictory? No. But if you want my opinion, which is what we're doing here, I do think that is a contradictory opinion, and I got no love in my heart for VHS. Don't. It served me well, but time to move on.
Yep.
So this film features a stacked cast. Some are Tarantino newcomers. Others have worked with him in the past. Sam Jackson's 6th collaboration with the guy. How does this cast do it for you? Are you looking forward to this? Is it too different from other casts? Too similar from other casts?
Could be the ensemble of the year, I think. There's a lot of different talent from a lot of different generations. And it just looks like an absolutely fantastic, flawless cast. Mm-hmm. Could be up there with Spotlight for best ensemble cast of the year.
Oh yeah, Spotlight,
great film. We'll talk about that in our year-end edition.
And not that this means anything really, but the Actors Guild the Actors Union, did not put this movie in their best ensemble when they did the nominations. Did not get a best ensemble nomination.
Maybe have they not even seen it yet?
I don't know. Apparently, I don't know. It was up for
we'll find out.
In contention, so didn't get nominated.
We will see. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can't. You got Bruce Dern, Kurt Russell, and Walter Goggins, like the three coolest dudes of their generation. You know? And on top of that, you got Sam Jackson, you got Tim Roth,
right?
Jason Lee, you got Michael Madsen.
Yeah,
who's great. Mm-hmm. It's such a good cast. I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to the return of Kurt Russell. You know, I think that guy just rocks.
Being everything.
Not everything. I don't want him in. I guess he was in the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just admit I'm right.
I don't want him to get burned out.
Okay.
If there's a way to do it like Nicolas Cage style, where he's just working all the time,
yeah.
so he wants to be doing just working, then yes. But you know, if he's an actual, well-balanced human being, I don't want to burn him out.
Yeah, true. And that mustache.
No.
That is a mighty mustache.
It is out of control.
And it's great. I love it.
I think he's also in another Western this year called Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
Which is supposed to be fan-fucking-tastic.
That's what I've heard. Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, please do.
I will.
We talked a lot about Westerns in the Rango episode. This film falls into another subgenre, the one-room movie. Other movies that fall into the one-room movie. The Room. Also, Room.
Is The Room in one room?
It's basically in one room.
It might. It's in the room, and that room is Tommy Wiseau's mind. That's the room that movie takes place in.
So, what do you think about the limitation of being in one place? Basically, do you think that that's a good format in general? Is it a recipe for high drama and comedy, or do you think it's just like, you know, like a lot of the Blumhouse movies take place in one location to save on costs.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, Oculus. Sometimes it doesn't. Name your Blumhouse movie you don't like. So
all of them.
Well, you know.
But that's just me.
Did you see Oculus?
No.
Check out Oculus.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. It earns it.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes the one room can be a real source of creativity. Something like The Thing. Something like...
Cube.
Cube.
Remember Cube?
I remember Cube.
Cube was great.
But then it can get into the realm of silly, like Buried with what's his name, Ryan Reynolds.
You didn't like that?
Well, he's in a coffin the whole movie.
I mean, I thought that was great.
They were stretching that premise just way too far at the breaking point, I thought. So, but it can. But yeah, sometimes it's just like, well, we didn't have enough money. So I remember in film school, we had a pool of scripts we could do that were written by various students, and so many people gravitated towards the one room one because they were lazy and because they were college kids.
Also, you see that
like, oh, and I don't have to do a whole lot of work with it.
And also,
fuck you.
Also, I think that people are like, if Hitchcock could do it twice, Rope and Rear Window, then I could do it once, right?
True.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. And Hitchcock really only pulled it off once. Let's be honest.
You don't like Rope?
Rope's good, but the editing is not good in Rope.
I like Rope. I didn't know if you don't know the gimmick of Rope, which I will not state here. If you don't know the gimmick of Rope, I think it totally works.
All right.
Because I walked into it not knowing that it was what the gimmick was, and then it was like, oh fuck it, I don't care then. You know what I mean?
All right. I like it. The script's good. I think it's a little. There's something wrong with that movie. Rear Window, masterpiece.
Well, yes. Yeah, I think that it's not an easy thing to do. I think that Tarantino can do it, and I'm looking forward to him trying.
I mean, Reservoir Dogs is kind of a one-room movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it goes outside in flashbacks and Yeah, it's all flashbacks or anytime it's not in the warehouse. Or they're eating at the diner in Eagle Rock. You know? But yeah, it's like that's the one. He did one of the seminal one-room movies.
Well, I guess they do go out of it a lot in the flashback, so maybe it's not a one-room movie, but it's a good one though.
You almost got laid to it.
Nah, dude, I was so far away. Let's be real. Like that poor girl was just like, you know, this Like, she got a good movie out of it. So she's not that poor of a girl, but
That's all that matters. She got a good flick.
yeah. Let's get into rapid fire. Tarantino Westerns Cold Weather Jibber Jabber is a milkshake worth $5.
If you put a little bourbon in it, yes.
I'm going to say just yes in general because in this city, Los Angeles, you cannot find a $5 milkshake on a menu. Like, if you find a $5 milkshake, that's like McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
you got $7.50. That's like a vanilla milkshake.
Ice cream's expensive, people.
And just in this heat. Who would win the fight? The Bride or Django?
I think the bride.
Bride.
But Django would put up a good fight.
Bride or Man with No Name? Bride.
The bride. Sword.
Best action scene: Death Proof car chase, The Bride's battle with the Crazy 88s.
God, that death proof car chase because they did it for real. They were really going 90 miles an hour.
I'm gonna say Crazy 88s because, like, you know,
The choreography in that is fantastic.
right. And I think as storytelling, it works a little bit better. You know what I mean?
I can buy that.
Repeater rifle or 6-shooter?
6-shooter.
6-shooter. Come on, you have two of them.
Yep. Got 2 guns.
What?
It's from Django Unchained. He's like, I count 6 shots, nigga. He goes, I got 2 guns, nigga.
Oh,
Great
interesting.
line.
Interesting. I forgot about that line.
Yeah.
32 degrees and 6 feet of snow, no snow, and negative 10 degrees.
In terms of living conditions, I would say 6 feet of snow because negative 10, your mind just goes numb and all you can think about is how cold you are.
Have you ever been in negative 10 degree
Yes.
weather? Where?
In Washington.
Negative 10?
With the winds blowing, it gets down.
Oh,
to
you didn't say wind, homie. You didn't say wind in this.
It's hard to get to negative 10 without some wind.
I mean, it's tough because I really hate the wind. Really hate it. But my arthritic hip, ankle, and knee speak not well to any of this. So I'm going to have to go with 6 feet of snow, I guess.
The real moral of the story here is just don't live anywhere where it does that.
Then I won't. And I won't. Hans Landa or Mr. Blonde?
Hans Landa.
Hans Landa?
Yeah. That's Christoph Waltz in Inglourious.
And that's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go Mr. Blonde. Mostly
They're
because
both terrifying.
Mostly because Mr. Blonde, as you know, a fellow Mister. You know, I am Mr. Jibber Jabber. He's
That's true.
Mr. Blonde. So you know, I got to look out for Mister. Horse travel, train travel.
Train.
You know, probably train,
I
but
wouldn't want to ride a horse for a long time.
true.
Your hips would hurt.
That's true.
Train, that's kind of like a romantic way to travel.
Best Tarantino scene: opening of Inglourious Bastards, the ending of Pulp Fiction.
I really want to say opening of Inglourious Bastards because it almost works as a short film, like unto itself. And I think there's little nuggets in there that some people haven't seen quite yet.
I think
definitely there.
everything that you said is just fair. That's totally fair, right? And totally accurate. But I think the ending of Pulp Fiction, so much shit's happened, so many divergent stories, so much this, so much that, and then you have this ending that only focuses on 2 characters, right? You know, Jules and
Vincent.
but really wraps up the whole movie in that way.
And it's not even the last thing in the timeline of the movie.
Right.
But it really does wrap up everything in it.
Right.
Yeah. Ending to Pulp Fiction. You convinced me.
All right. Last but not least, more cutting insult. I like the way you die, boy. Or are you going to bark all day, little doggy, or are you going to bite?
Boy, Mr. Blonde just says that so cold.
Yeah, I don't say it very cold at all.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that was the more cutting one. Although I do like Django shooting his slave owner and saying, I like the way you die, boy.
See, the problem is that he's already dead, though, so you're not talking to anyone.
Not dead yet.
Oh, he wasn't dead yet?
He gives him a good shot, and then that's the last thing he ever hears is, I like the way you die, boy. There's also... got a German who wants to die for his country, oblige him. That one's pretty good, too. Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah. I think the bark all day line is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that line kind of introduced the world to Quentin Tarantino, I think.
Speaking of a list of movies that take place in one room, what this movie, you say if you like it, you love it. If you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, comment on movies, contextualizes our review. Play along at home, guys. Here we go. What this movie, Tarantino in One Room Edition. Forgot that we made this gigantic list of one-room movies.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Death Proof. That's Tarantino.
That's great. I love it. I know a lot of people hate it, but I love it.
I like it.
That's fine.
Dread. The second Judge Dredd movie.
Pretty good.
I'm gonna say
Didn't obsess over it the way a lot of people have.
I need to watch it. I need to watch it because I saw it under conditions that were not ideal. A lot of things going on. It was on in the background. It's not really the way you want to do it.
Yep.
Jackie Brown.
That movie's great.
I don't really like Jackie Brown.
That's too bad.
It's not Tarantino enough for me. A Wedding. Never seen it.
That's a good film. Robert Altman.
Inglourious Bastards.
Fantastic.
Triple Great. The Raid Redemption.
Fantastic.
Super, super good. Why is that in this list? Is it in one room?
I think it's in one building.
That's cool. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I like that.
Then the Raid 2, which is in like 8,000 locations.
Over 5 years or whatever. The Moon. Moon.
That's a good little sci-fi film.
I never saw it.
You should check it out.
But I did love Panic Room.
Yeah, Panic Room's great.
127 Hours.
Great.
Never saw it.
Ooh, you should check it out.
Misery.
Good.
Totally good. Paranormal Activity.
Don't like it.
Scared the balls off of me. It really freaked me the fuck out.
I mean, that's...
Something about found footage, man. It gets my goat. Not to your taste.
Nope.
That's okay. Paranormal Activity 2. No.
Oh, no. This is going to be Land Before Time.
It is. Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. The Reservoir Dogs.
Great.
Yeah.
What can you say about Reservoir Dogs?
Breakfast Club.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's good.
It's dated.
It's good.
It's dated, but it kind of works.
Some good stuff. Some stuff that's just kind of like, what?
Yep.
Devil.
Oh no, terrible.
Absolutely terrible movie.
Terrible.
Terrible from frame 1 to last frame is just no good. The Thing.
I mean, we've said many times in this podcast. Say it again. Masterpiece.
Total masterpiece.
Seen it in theaters twice.
Buried.
Terrible.
I'm gonna say it was an impactful movie for me.
You're jumping the shark with that one room premise, like him just in a coffin. Didn't work.
It was just bleak beyond belief.
Yep.
Beyond belief.
Yep.
Lock. Never heard of this.
It's a movie. I haven't seen it either, but it's Tom Hardy and he's in a car the whole time, and the story plays out in like phone conversations he has. I've heard mixed reviews, but I am intrigued by it.
Interesting. Rope. I liked it. You didn't like it.
I said I like the movie and the script. I think it's the way they do the one take thing is a little archaic. But he did it first.
12 Angry Men.
Great.
I don't ever think I've ever seen that.
Oh, you should check out. See the Sidney Lumet version, 1957. It's a great film.
Clue. Total classic.
I've never seen Clue.
What?
I never have. Like start to finish, never seen it.
You anger me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry I disappointed you.
Django Unchained.
Great.
Totally great. Phone Booth. Never saw it.
It's a pretty good little thriller. Kind of trashy, but fun.
Nah, that's how I like them. Clerks.
Good. I think overrated though.
Well, I mean, yeah, in terms of like the fact that to some people it's like their Bible.
Yeah.
It's like how can you ever live up to that? But yeah, I liked it. Funny Games.
Dark, a little lectury, but a good film.
Never saw it. Cube. Totally loved it.
It's I remember watching that back in the day. It's fun.
Das Boot. Never saw it.
That's a great one.
Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Both fantastic.
Both fantastic indeed. And the Superman lecture at the end, pretty spot on.
Yep.
Pulp Fiction.
Seminal.
Yeah, but what is there to say other than
it's great.
It's great. And then last and not least, Rear Window.
Great. Masterpiece.
It's great, and I even like the remake that they did, Disturbia, with Shia LaBeouf. It's so good that movie was made better for it.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Because I was like, Rear Window with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, it's Rear Window with Shia LaBeouf. That's what it is.
All right.
And instead of being in the city, it's like in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And there's some weird webcam shit, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Someday.
I do wish I was in New York so I could watch that movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, during his little art installation.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That'd be a good one to watch with him.
Yeah.
Would you
sit next to him, behind him, or in front of him?
I want to sit next to him.
All right.
And I would want to do that movie and Eagle Eye and all the Transformers movies with him.
Yeah, be interested.
And not... What's the one that he did with
it?
Gus Van Sant?
Oh.
Nymphomaniac?
No, that was Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier, yes.
Yeah, that was Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that
That
one.
movie's weird.
It's a weird one.
Lots of erect penises in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If we're watching Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I want to be watching him the whole time just to see how he reacts to it. I want to see how LaBeouf reacts to the monkey swinging scene.
Yeah.
I just want to see it.
Yeah. Any last minute jibbers or jabbers?
Let's go find us a 70mm screen and go see Hateful Eight.
Here we go.
Here we go.
And we're back.
We're back.
Hateful Eight. How'd you see it, Kev?
I saw it on Sunday, the 27th of December at 11 a.m. at the Landmark on Pico, the 70mm Roadshow edition.
Indeed. I saw it today, December 30th, at the Hollywood ArcLight, also 70mm Roadshow edition. Thought we were in the Dome. Turns out we were not in the Dome. Star Wars was in the Dome.
Big controversy with Star Wars in the Dome. You hear about that?
We can get into that 1 second. Because we walked in, and there's a bunch of kids, and I'm like, what irresponsible fucking parents is bringing all these kids here? And then they're like, no, you're not in here. You're in like that. And I'm like, oh, right. So you want to recap the controversy?
So the controversy is that Quentin and the Cinerama Dome had a contract to show the Hateful Eight at the Cinerama Dome, which is grand old theater, huge screen, and he wanted to show his 70mm film.
The Cinerama Dome is it was its own theater, but now it's part of the ArcLight on Sunset, and it's a theater where it's big enough that you could have 3 projectors shooting an image onto the screen.
Yep.
And have a like, it's like a 1:5 ratio. I don't even, some absurdly wide screen ratio. And very few movies were ever shot in this format, and they play it there. They play them there sometimes. I've seen one of them. It was a Western. I can't remember what it was called, but.
And then Disney.
And the Cinerama fucking logo is at the head of the movie.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah,
so he had a standing deal with them, show Hateful Eight at the Cinerama Dome. Disney said, or told ArcLight, if you take Star Wars out of there, we will take Star Wars out of all the ArcLight theaters. And ArcLight caved and kicked Quentin basically out of the Cinerama Dome and couldn't show Hateful Eight there, and he was pissed.
Now, do you think one side, not Tarantino, I believe that that's what they told him, but do you think Disney really did that? Or do you think that the ArcLight was like, shit, we shouldn't have agreed to this, and kind of reneged on the deal? What do you think?
It's tough to say. I mean, Star Wars is huge, but Hateful Eight is... That's the format that he wanted. And you think Tarantino would have enough clout in that community to get his film in the theaters that he wants to go. Because people are going to go see it. People are going to go see Star Wars any old time. And they can see it in any theater. But you can only see the Hateful Eight 70mm Roadshow at certain theaters. And the Cinerama Dome is such a classic icon. I don't know. I think he should have been able to do it. Did ArcLight cave a little bit? I have a feeling they probably did.
And yeah, I guess the other question is, do you think that if ArcLight is like, no, we're not gonna do that, do you think they would have actually pulled those prints?
It's a lot of dollars that Disney would be giving up. But part of me thinks they would, but not at the expense of a lot of people complaining to those theaters. You know, and I don't think it would happen like instantaneously. I think it would happen over time.
Yeah.
Again, it's a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And money ruins everything.
It's true, but we're not here to talk about Harvey Weinstein's problems with film distribution.
Of which he has none.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about the movie that we saw, which was The Hateful Eight. So, Kev, movie, Western, mystery, intrigue, widescreens, gunfights, a lot of witty banter, red apple cigarettes.
Widescreens in closed spaces.
Profound use of the N-word. What'd you think?
Like all of Tarantino's movies, I'd want to see it again to fully appreciate it. But this first screening was pretty damn great.
Did you have a good audience?
We had a good crowd. I don't think as receptive as they could have been. There were definitely a few old fogies there that had no idea what they were getting into.
Yeah, there was a guy sitting
at every screening at the Landmark I go to.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a landmark crowd where they just go.
They just go and see whatever's there, regardless of if they're going to enjoy it or not.
Yeah.
And this movie is definitely divisive.
Yes.
There are people that will hate this film.
Right. So two quick things. The people sitting directly in front of us was an old couple. I went with Emily, obviously. And she was like, "What are they doing here?" And then when the guy went to adjust his shoe or something, he's wearing a jean jacket with a Panavision camera on the back. It was like they gave it to him at like a Panavision holiday party. It's like, oh, that's why you're here, motherfucker.
Movie geek.
And walking out, there's a lot of people who stayed behind to watch all the credits, which I feel like is a good sign of people liking the movie.
Yeah.
But a lot of people on the outside, and a lot of younger people were definitely like, "What the fuck did we just watch?"
Yep. And as soon as the credits came up, there were some claps in the theater, but there was definitely some rustling of like, what did we just sit through?
Yes, yes.
So the reaction is going to be wide and varied with this one. But I thought it was great.
I liked it, but it's a hard thing because I literally just saw it like we went to a 12 screening. Right now it's 5:20. Fucking inside baseball here. But right now we're recording. It's 5:20. We saw a noon screening, so I'm only 2 hours away removed from seeing this movie. Like I've spent more of my day today seeing it than like not seeing it. So yeah, it's tough to like, cause I have not been able to stew or write about it or anything. I couldn't take my notebook in, couldn't review my notes. But I think it is a good movie.
Nobody's ever made a movie like this before.
It didn't feel... I don't want to say it felt long. Because I don't think it felt long. I feel like all the scenes move very well. But it does feel like when you think back on this movie, it feels like there's so much to remember, right? There's so many things people say. There's so many things you think are going to happen but don't happen. There's so many misdirections and gunfights and then later explanations and
they all get paid off later.
Yes.
Which is tricky. So it's... stuff that seems kind of insignificant, like just a silly joke in the beginning, becomes like a crux to what happens later in the story, which is a testament to Quentin's writing, but agreed, you get a mental workout.
Indeed. And it treads a line, and I don't want to be like soft on the movie. Ultimately, I did like the movie. It's hard to say if I loved it, but one of the things is that there's no, and he's talked about this in all the interviews that he's done, there's like, it's a movie about generally unlikable people, right? There's no one who is like the hero who is in the right. Like, in Django, it's like, Django does bad things, but he does them for a good reason. And in Inglourious Bastards, it's like they're doing bad things, but they're on our side. And
they're doing it to Nazis.
Right, and they're on the right side of history. Yep. You know what I mean? This movie, it's like everyone... I feel like it's a movie about justice, right? Because everyone's done what everyone else has done, but just in times where that wasn't necessarily a crime, right? So Samuel L. Jackson's character,
Major Marquise Warren.
Yeah, Warren. He escaped from a military prison in the Civil War, and in doing so, he burnt down the military and he killed, approximately 47 Confederate boys, but like 36 Union guys.
Yep.
So it's like he's indiscriminately killed people. And you look at Walter Goggins' character.
Charlie Mannix.
And he was part of, his dad and him were part of the Mannix Marauders, who were a group of Southerners who, after the absolute unconditional surrender of the South, continued the war and were sacking towns. So he's also a criminal, and he's killed people, and he's a murderer.
But he's the new sheriff in Red Rock.
Which, again, we don't even know if that's true or not.
No, that's true.
And then, so now we're after the, what's Channing Tatum and Jennifer Jason Leigh's?
The Domergue gang.
Yeah, the Domergue gang. And, they're murderers, but what they do is they sack towns and they, whatever. That's the same shit that these guys have done. But it's an interesting moment where Tim Roth is like, frontier justice is quick justice, and we're trying to make it civilized justice, right? So it's an interesting... I feel like the crux of the movie is about the nature of what is justice, right? And it's kind of like, the pursuit of peace, there's like a lot of lines that people say, like Samuel L. Jackson says, only time black people can be safe if white people are disarmed.
Yep.
And Walter Goggins' character says the same thing about black people, that white people can only be safe if black people are controlled or something.
Yeah.
And so I think ultimately the movie is about like what is justice and like what is like how do you create that sense of safety or whatever. And it's like the characters that we end up cheering for or behind or it's from their point of view, which is Walter Goggins and Samuel L. Jackson. They just happen to be on the right side of the law this time. But it's like Samuel L. Jackson, the bounty hunter, he's just murdering people legally, right? It's not. In terms of moral high ground, he doesn't have it.
The movie opens with him sitting on 4 dead bodies
in a saddle, which is a great shot. What do you think about that, like thematically and all that?
I think this movie is about the promise of America and how fucked up it is in a way. So yeah, there's the justice aspect that like, oh, we're civilized justice, as they hang Daisy from a bedpost.
Yes, and it's like I think it's that scene is played for kind of laughs, but I think my audience was a little bit bummed out by that point.
I don't know if it was played for laughs.
You don't think so? Well, the characters are laughing, and I think
I don't think we're ever meant to join in on these people.
Well, that's a good point, and I think the movie is advanced in that way where it's like they're laughing, so I think you're like, well, should I be laughing because these are our main characters? But it's like, I think he's trying to say like, you don't have to necessarily feel like these guys feel. Like they're not necessarily right all the time. And that's very clear from Walter Goggins' character. And I think Samuel L. Jackson's character is a little bit more sympathetic because he's a guy who grew up a slave. You know what I mean? So it's like when he does a bad thing, which is trick a man into getting into a gunfight with him and easily dispatching him, right? Which is, morally not a right thing to do, but you don't feel, and also the story he tells right before he does that is absolutely disgusting, where he's like, talking about how this guy's son's last moments on the world were sucking his dick for the promise of a blanket.
His black dingus.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that's not ethically, that's not like a good thing to have done. But we don't, but the other character's so reprehensible that we kind of don't give a shit about him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's.
But you were saying about America.
It's so much built on a lie. There's a lot of things in this movie. Everything's kind of built on somebody taking maybe a moral high ground or a historical high ground that they don't necessarily actually
So
have.
Warren with his fake letter to from
Lincoln is the real crux of that. And that's what really makes me think it's about. It's some kind of metaphor for the building of America and racism in America. Is that everything's kind of built on this really shaky foundation, but it's how we justify everything we do. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what the Lincoln was always in my head when I was kind of sitting and stewing about this movie. About Lincoln, some consider to be the greatest president, and it's
with his war of northern aggression.
Damn him and Andrew Jackson. Anyways,
Lincoln was always in your head. Because things are built on a lie. I mean, that's an interesting point, right? Everyone has their own perspective on what they do, right? Like, the Domergue gang, they have a much less... They're just like, hey, we do what we want, right? But you look at Warren, and he's like, war is hell. That's his explanation for burning down the prison and getting everyone killed. And with Walter Goggins' characters, he's like, we were fighting for dignity. Because an unconditional surrender has no dignity to it, so we wanted to go out swinging.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he's like, well, we're fighting for the dignity of the South, but it's like, but you're just murdering people at this point. You know what I mean?
And you got Joe Gage, played by Michael Madsen, who's like, I just want to go home to my mom for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Is that such a bad thing?
But
that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. Yeah.
But it's something you use to justify the actions that you pull off. Mm-hmm. It's just this movie.
And poor Obi,
Obi, he was just the driver.
He just wanted some coffee.
And just drank some poison coffee and barfed blood.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute.
We're getting there. But yeah, story wise, I found this to be an interesting microcosm about racism in America, the foundation of America, and the meaning of justice. Mm-hmm. It told in just a very interesting way, in a way that really. I didn't even think Tarantino could pull this off. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a very self-contained story.
I mean,
he's done it before in Reservoir Dogs,
Sure.
obviously, but that's a much more genre-based. This is a gangster movie that happens to take place in one location.
And that's a much more personal story where it's like the story between a guy and his mentor, even though that's based on a lie. He has to tell him. But, like, spoilers for Reservoir Dogs. But this one does seem to be much more what you're saying, where it's like, there's an interesting moment, right, where you have Jennifer Jason Leigh's trying to get to the gun, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, wake up, white boy, wake up. Like, wake up. And it's like, I feel like 5 years from now, I'm going to watch a YouTube video about how that is a representation of the black community asking the white community to wake up and, something, American justice. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Black Lives Matter, hashtag. So
there's a lot of little moments like that throughout the whole thing. And they're just subtly woven in there. Subtly and some not so subtly. But it's, to do that, to come up with that kind of metaphor in the setting of a Western bar for 3 hours in one location I've just never seen anything like that.
Speaking of that, though, so we watched the Roadshow version. So that takes me to another point about this movie. Pacing of the movie is very, to me, there's a lot of like hard, okay. So in the movie, we start with the overture, classic
5-minute overture of fantastic new Ennio Morricone music.
Really good Western stuff. Yeah,
great score.
Right. So the movie starts. We're picking up people. We don't know who they are. It's all about reputation and do we meet? Do we not meet? Do you know them? Do you not know them? Why are you doing it this way? It's easier if you just kill him. And he's like, I'm not interested in just killing him. I want justice. I want the whole system to work. And so so it goes back and forth, and people are telling stories about the war in the past and things that they've done or didn't do, and is someone lying or not lying or whatever, right? And then we work our way up to the intermission, come back, and then Quentin Tarantino's voiceover comes in and says, "Oh, by the way, there's a mystery here too." And I'm like, it's kind of weird because I feel like Tarantino has talked about this, and a lot of people have talked about this idea of like, the way you should structure an intermission, right, is you build up to the intermission and you kind of leave them on a cliffhanger. Everyone goes, uses the bathroom, refills their popcorn, gets another soda, thinks about everything they've seen, and then comes back and you proceed to pay all that off. And I feel like that is not there in this movie. Like, basically, it's like we kind of just fuck around for the first half, right?
It's a tonal intermission, I think.
Yes, indeed. And then we come back and it's like, oh, by the way, now some fucking shit's gonna go down plot-wise, right? Yep. It's like, and I feel like in one way, and I mean, I really do honestly feel like divided on this. In one way, I'm like, that's kind of cheap, because instead of having to, man that turn, right? It's a sharp turn. Instead of having to actually do it, pump the brakes, hit the e-brake, quarter turn, gas it on the way out. He just takes a break and comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, while you were gone, we turned." Yeah. 15 minutes have passed, and then some shit went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then another part of me is like, fuck it. There's no rules. Do whatever you want. And it did work, right? It's like you have fun in this first half.
He earned it.
Yeah. And then when they come back and he sprinkles in this stuff like, hey, this is how everyone feels right now. There's a poisoned coffee cup or coffee pot, whatever. And then they say, hey, and Jennifer Jason Leigh knows. Then she starts playing the guitar, and through the use of cinematography, right? It's a hard focus on her and soft focus in the back, and every time she turns her head to go look at who's going to drink that coffee, it goes into that becomes sharp focus, and she goes into soft focus, and there's this tense thing of like someone comes over and then he gets distracted and he's like, oh wait, hey, we gotta whatever, and then who's drinking it and who starts to drink it, and it just becomes, and then you see some characters drinking it and you're like, oh fuck, but then you're waiting for something to happen. Is it gonna happen to both of them? Is it gonna happen to neither of them? So it's like, I do think that it's handled so expertly that it's not a cheat. You know what I mean? When it first happened, I was like, this is a cheat. He just didn't want to make that turn. But then when he comes back, it's like, no, it's not a cheat. He's just fucking in control of this. So much so that he's willing to skip this middle part. Mm-hmm. So...
Well, I said so much stuff is laid out in the first half,
mm-hmm.
and then very slowly paid off in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's through a totally almost visual medium. Like, yeah, he has his quick voiceover, but that's just to up the ante of like, somebody poisoned the coffee cup, or the coffee pot, and we think that's going to be the mystery, but then that ends up not really being the mystery.
Right. And it does up the ante.
It completely ups the ante. It changes the whole tone of the thing. Yes, and now it's a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
Now it's suspense.
Yeah.
Instead of just this kind of slow burn, tense Western, now it's like an actual. There's a thriller going on here.
Right.
Almost.
And then it speeds way up, and you're like, when he starts shooting Javier Bardem. No, oh fuck, what's that guy's name? The Mexican. That's the name of the character, is the Mexican.
Demian Bichir.
Yeah. When he shoots Bashir, you're like, oh shit, like, this is happening now? And then we do get that whole flashback sequence where we go back to Minnie's haberdashery. Also, as someone who doesn't know what the word haberdashery really means, like, that joke was completely lost on me.
No.
It's a hat store.
It's a hat store. Yep. You think a haberdashery would be way more, with more stuff. But yeah, the word, it's a hat store.
Yeah.
So,
Turns out.
Turns out.
I think in the end, I think it is a brilliant move in the way that he is a master of controlling the narrative, the storytelling, right? Like, you put the flashback, towards the end of the movie, because the climax of the movie is when they all start turning their guns on each other, and then we take a break from that and we flash back. He's Pulp Fiction told out of sequence. It's like he knows how to tell the story. You know what I mean?
Well, I was always in like screenwriting, every book and all that, or class you take on screenwriting, you should save the flashback until the last possible moment you need it, and then throw it in there, to tell you kind of the essential stuff.
No way, bro. You should start it by starting at a point and then flash back to 2 weeks ago. So the very first page, right, is me and you holding guns to each other, and one of us says, "I can't believe it came to this," and then, flashback 48 hours previous, and we're having this podcast right now.
We got the audience, baby.
Yeah.
Bad cold.
Indeed. So you're saying saving that flashback, and he really is able to do it.
I mean, it's because it's a huge moment where it's like, Channing Tatum's in the floorboards and blast Marquise right in the balls. And it's like, well, now we have to know what this is.
Right.
And then the flashback.
Well, you're right, because that basically people have been fatally injured.
Yep.
So you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, Tim Roth is gut shot, Samuel L. Jackson's been shot in the dick, and Walter Goggins has been shot, in the leg.
Yep.
But you're like, the way that the violence has been portrayed in this movie is like, once you get shot, like the bullets are like, they're super powered. Your body's exploding.
They're just lead balls.
And that's after Kurt Russell, who is arguably the main character, has been killed already.
Yep.
And OB. So it's like, now we know that we're willing to kill anyone in this movie. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the racist general.
Yeah, played by Bruce Dern. And it's funny, they build up, what's his name? Channing Tatum, Jody, as like this mastermind. And as soon as he comes up from the floorboards, he has his moment with Daisy. Head explodes.
See, and that's, the movie gets so tense that basically every word of the second, after they start shooting each other, every word that anyone says, I'm like, oh, they're about to get it. It's gonna. And then he actually does it with Channing Tatum, where he's like about to say something and he gets his head blown off.
Yep.
But like,
he's like, "Hey, little troublemaker," and they have like that nice moment, and then boom, he's dead. Channing Tatum, everybody.
And then Daisy's covered in brains.
Covered, nice little chunks of brain in her hair. Nice touch. So that delayed. Keeping the flashback that late is a strong move, but it's absolutely the right move.
Yeah.
It's not going to make everybody happy, but it doesn't serve anybody knowing beforehand what it is.
Right.
It's the story doesn't really take off until it's like, well, now we have to know what's actually going on here.
What'd you think about the 70mm in such tight spaces?
I thought he used it in such interesting ways. I don't think I ever saw the same angle twice in this thing, which is insanely impressive. And he creates depth of field in ways that apparently are really hard to do with that camera. Like rack focusing and keeping big wide frames in focus are like challenging with that camera. But he does it all the time in a way that serves the story. There's a scene where they're all eating stew.
Yes.
It's a very tense stew eating scene. But yeah, he's rack focusing. He's got everybody placed in really interesting positions. Things happen in the corner of a frame. There's lots of little details in the haberdashery that tell the story. The horseshoes are all upside down. That's a sign of bad luck.
Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, homie. But yeah, it's...
my horseshoe game, admittedly, is weak.
Your knowledge of ancient good luck charms.
Well, my knowledge
not
of
up to where
ancient good luck charms, current good luck charms, and general cowboy. I got the surface level cowboy spurs, chaps, jeans, guns. Where I got all that, but how it all really works and what it all really means, I don't know.
But yeah, it's... Yeah, again, I don't think I ever saw the same angle twice in that thing. And this is a 3.5 hour movie.
And there's definitely lots of scenes where you see multiple characters in a shot, even if they're not doing anything, like they're just chilling in the background, drinking.
Which is why I want to see it again, because I have a feeling in some of those shots, some of those people are doing something.
Yeah, but then once you get into we get these tense moments where it's just two people talking about something, either friendly style or not, right? And then there's so when Warren is talking to the Confederate general, right, it's just on their faces, back and forth, and while that's going on, something else is going on in the background, right, that we don't get to see. So it does use that to it's like he's showing you when he wants to show you, and he's not showing you when he doesn't want to show you, and that is, I think, really powerfully done, and the 70mm is used to that effect.
It made such a small space feel like it had huge scope.
Yeah.
But, the scope comes from the characters and, again, the situations that it creates. It's all visual storytelling. And I said in the first half of the episode, I think Quentin is one of the best directors when it comes to using cinema techniques to tell you what's going on in the character's head, who's who, where they are, and really tell the story that way.
Right.
He's absolutely one of the masters of it.
Mm-hmm. So it's not been made controversial yet. It's not like whatever, but some initial people are talking about how there's lots of violence against women in this movie, in that there's one woman and the guy who is Kurt Russell, who is taking her to town to get hung, has no problem just physically abusing her, and I mean to a lesser extent verbally abusing her, but that's nothing in comparison. Like he'll punch her, he's
elbows her in the face,
right. There's
vomits blood on her.
Well, that was. I don't think he wanted to vomit blood on her. I think
he was.
I think that was coming up no matter what was happening. And then he, my favorite one of those is when it's revealed that the letter to Lincoln is not real, and everyone's laughing at him, and then he throws his soup in Daisy's face.
Yep.
It's great. No, I mean, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think it's appropriate, inappropriate, glorified, villainized?
She's never shown to be at all sympathetic. She's the first one to drop the N-bomb in this movie. And you can tell just by her demeanor, by her thought process, by her actions that she is not a nice person.
Sure.
And it's, and again, it's in a movie full of not nice people.
Right. Which is no excuse for domestic violence.
No excuse for domestic violence.
So,
right.
And
but he's not in a domestic relationship with her.
Sure. But I mean, it's like he's physically abusive to her, right? Yeah. But I think that is supposed to be as awful as it is depicted, right? That's something that's bad about him, is that he is like punching this woman for no reason.
And keep in mind, this is post-Civil War.
Right.
There's
right. And it's also
women's rights are a long way down the road.
Right. And it's also I guess some people were not accusing Tarantino, but kind of like maybe implying that like is he trying to justify this treatment of her? And I think he's not. I think he's saying it's a lawless world that they're in, right? So because she's his prisoner, he could do whatever he wants to her, and no one can really say anything. And that's part of him being a bastard, is that he's just like anyone that he doesn't like, he gets in everyone's face. He's like really aggressive, and he's hitting this woman, and it's like, you don't have you don't need to be doing any of this. In fact, she's a murderer, and she is, so you could have just handled this a lot differently. You know what I mean? And it's like, why, like he has all these handcuffs, but she's not handcuffed. You know what I mean? It's like, why don't you handcuff her? Why don't you like treat her like an actual prisoner?
And the last person you can accuse of misogyny is Tarantino. hear me out.
Yeah, no, I'm
Only one of his films, that's Reservoir Dogs, doesn't feature a very strong female character.
yeah.
And some in the lead, i.e. Kill Bill 2, or
Kill Bill 1 and 2.
You've got Mia Wallace, who holds her own in Pulp Fiction. You've got Jackie Brown, who is just in control of that whole movie. You've got Shoshana in Inglourious Bastards, who basically ends Hitler's regime.
Yeah, he does all of those things through the and I hate using the word this way, but into the lens of genre filmmaking, which I hate. That is like such a second class way of talking about it.
It's degrading.
Because like if you make a Hong Kong movie, if you make a spaghetti western, if you make whatever, people look at you like you're
just making entertainment.
You're making
you don't have
content.
anything to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, you have anything to say. And I think he does have things to say, but it's expressed in his, genre loving way. Make that horror movie, Quentin. Make it.
We'd love to see it. You sold a ticket already, bud.
Yeah, 2
tickets.
Yeah, me and you. We can't share.
Thursday night.
I called the theater. We can't share a ticket.
Oh, well, Jesus.
Well, yeah. So, you got any nitpicks on this movie? Anything that kind of irritated you?
Irritated, not really. I would have liked to have seen more of Bruce Dern. Although he was Sandy Smithers, the Confederate. He's just such a talented actor. Sandy. But I did kind of get a nice moment when they do in the flashback, and then he's already at the haberdashery, and I was like, yeah, we get more Bruce Dern. Because I was like, he kind of gets killed pretty quick without getting a whole lot of moments, but then he gets a few more, and I was like, but I could have used a little more Bruce Dern. A simmering of Bruce Dern.
The movie gets uncomfortably tense to the point of like, I think on subsequent viewings it'll be fine, but that first viewing, there's a point where I was like, I'm just uncomfortable, man.
See, that's going in my cool stuff.
Oh, well, fair enough.
Unbearably tense.
Fair enough. Oh, my other nitpick is Channing. The whole time they've been in here, everyone's drinking coffee and liquor and hanging out by the fireplace or the stove, and they're super cold, and they're just, it's always about make sure the door is shut or whatever. And apparently, fucking Channing Tatum's been living underneath them for like days. You know what I mean? Like, what is he eating? Where is he going to the bathroom? Isn't he cold?
Well, it's only like a day.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I mean,
I guarantee you he's cold.
This is one of those nitpicks where if you were to explain it,
it would just slow the movie down.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? It's just it's what it is. I accept it. It's just a nitpick.
The scene where they were laying down the line to the outhouse, I felt was a little unnecessarily long. That would be the one scene I'd trim a little bit. But I think it is to show just how shitty that job is.
They also did it in a dumb way where they put all the sticks in the front.
Yep.
And then they went back and did one stick at a time. It's like
you need one guy's stick guy and then other guy's rope guy.
Yeah, and then just
unless because those were wrought iron, so they're probably heavy.
Yeah, maybe they're really heavy. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Again, I felt like that scene went just a tad too long, but it had great Ennio Morricone score under it, so that's fine.
Totally.
Which goddamn, that's a great score.
Mm-hmm. Cool stuff. Go. Cool stuff.
Ennio Morricone score, fantastic.
It was truly...
It's a classic score.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like one of his, but it's uniquely to this movie. No question.
Zoe Bell, good to see her back.
Yeah.
And a character that really suits her personality, you know what I mean? It seems.
Six-Horse Judy.
Six-Horse Judy, bubbly. She looks like Calamity Jane.
Yep.
With her little leather outfit.
I did like the whole flashback just to see what the haberdashery looks like on a normal day. And it shows... And then you kind of look back on the movie, it's like, this is how bastardized it's become. Like, it used to be it was a haven for just good people, and now it's this simmering boil of shittiness. So, yeah, the flashback...
Unless you're Mexican, by the way.
Unless you're Mexican.
As of 2 years ago, unless you were a dog. The hits in this movie hit so hard. Every time anything gets hit, it is just like...
Hits and gunshots, all just right there.
Damien Bashir, so good.
Yep, Bob the Mexican.
So you say, what are you saying? You saying Malaya Cabron? It's like he is just having fun.
Yep.
Also, a lot of really good small moments in this movie. Like right before the stagecoach arrives, there's a shot where they're showing it from the inside, where the three dudes are getting ready, you know what I mean? They hug each other right before they go out there, and it's like, yeah, man, they're in a gang, you know what I mean? This is their brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. Again, to pull on the small moments, like the reveal in Sweet Dave's chair that there's a bloodstain.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
That's a great reveal.
Right. And you can tell, and also there's really great moments where Warren is going slow playing things where he's like, where's Minnie? It's like, Minnie's, you know, visiting her mom on the north side of the mountain. It's like, huh.
And he's not trying to intimidate. Like, he's just trying to
assess the
figure it
situation.
out, you know?
Yeah.
He's not like Kurt Russell's character, who's very blustery, very John Wayne type, who is, you know, I'm the guy in charge here, and I'm going to figure out...
And I want to know everything. What do you write in that book?
Exactly.
You know, it's
and then Major Warren is the total opposite. He kind of works that information out in a much more...
You know, he finds a jelly bean on the ground, he looks up, and there's no red jelly beans in any jar or anything, so he's like, you know, where did this come from?
Although, was there a continuity error? Was there a jelly bean jar up there when he finds the jelly bean? Because in the flashback, it's destroyed.
That one's destroyed, but there's other ones up there.
Okay, I need to see it again. Because when they destroyed the jelly bean jar, I was like, wait, I thought there was a jelly bean jar up there. But, again, gotta see it again.
Also, when they throw Zoe Bell into the well, just so cold.
The way this movie depicts being cold is really good.
Yeah.
It just shows how miserable.
We know how they shot it, right?
Yeah, on a refrigerated set.
Yeah.
Just like they did on The Thing. And then also, I mean, they shot like in Colorado in the winter.
Yeah.
It was just ass cold. So.
Who played the driver?
Walter Parks or James Parks? Hold on. James Parks played OB. See what else? He was in Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2. But he's a Tarantino regular. He's in Django Unchained. But yeah, he's you could say he was the least reprehensible character in this. He actually like goes and does some of the work, and he doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
And the poor guy just goes out on some tainted coffee.
Tainted coffee. The gore in this movie, I mean, Emily was very put off by that gore.
As many people will be.
It is, he holds nothing back. You know, but it's very stylized and over the top. You know what I mean? It's like Godard said, it's not blood, it's red. You know what I mean? It's like they're puking up blood and it's coming out like crazy. And
like a fountain.
Yeah, you know. Like when...
it's not supposed to be visceral gore. It's just... It's movie gore.
When Damien Bashir gets shot in the head, his head explodes.
Yep. His face explodes. He's like, you could have gotten more if you preserved his face, you know.
He's not worth anything now.
He's not worth anything now.
Yep.
So...
Do you think the single location... Do you think it's a positive or a negative?
Absolutely a positive. You couldn't tell this story if it was like a traveling Western or like a road trip Western.
Well, you needed, if it was a road trip one, you needed to be like all in one wagon or all in one train car. You know what I mean? It couldn't be, yeah, you know what I mean? But
it couldn't be like a Sergio Leone movie where it's many locations.
People are going places, and you know, in 1 minute they're going by Monument Canyon, Monument Valley, and then the other minute they're going by the Grand Canyon. You know, exactly.
Yeah, I think absolutely there's no way you could tell this story except in that one room. It'd be cool if somebody ever adapted this for theater. Don't you think?
Now that you say that, Tarantino says if the movie does well, that's what he wants to do, is adapt it for the stage.
I would go see that.
Yeah, I mean, do it, bro. We got 2 tickets sold here.
I'd love to see how they pull off some of the blood effects on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be akin to Reanimator the musical, where it becomes hilariously over the top.
Yep. And hopefully there's a splash zone. Perhaps.
No, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
The Hateful Eight with splash zones.
What do you think about the characters? I mean, Tarantino, legendary for his characters. How do you think the different character types play into the schemes they got into?
It's again, it's kind of a lot of old Western tropes thrown together. It's, you know, mentioned earlier, Kurt Russell is definitely John Wayne, like the classic American cowboy. He was killed off pretty quickly in the story, much quicker than I thought he was.
Well, an hour and 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in.
Quick in this movie.
Yeah. Halfway through.
You know, Samuel L. Jackson he's kind of the more, I would say, a revisionist type character, a black general who is, you know, thought of, or a black major who is thought of very highly. You've got the Confederate, you've got the good guy in Mannix, you've got the evil outlaw, but in this time it happens to be a woman in Daisy Domergue. It's like I said, all different kinds of Western tropes thrown together, flipped on their ear, and then stir fried.
Yeah, hot and crispy,
nice.
And I think there's cool reveals when you find out who people really are. You know what I mean? Like when Tim Roth drops his posh accent and goes with his normal accent. You know what I mean? And you see everyone acting in a certain way, and then when you see them, I think all the villains are really well done.
I believe Tim Roth is supposed to be, because his last name was Hickok, supposed to be Michael Fassbender's relative in Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, really?
I think that's your Tarantino universe connection.
Holy shit, yeah.
He'd be, I don't know, probably a great-great-grandfather with Civil War. Yeah, he'd be about that far removed.
Where do you think this stacks, speaking of Inglourious Basterds, where do you think this stacks up with Tarantino's other movies?
Again, hard to judge.
Yeah, I mean...
I want to see it again, like, desperately, before I'll make a total commitment to it. I think this is his most challenging movie. Not his, definitely not as accessible as, like... I could show Kill Bill to anybody, and they'll probably enjoy it, because it's a pretty lean...
action,
fast-paced,
right?
Fun.
Well, because that's like a revenge. He's trying to make a revenge movie, but it really plays like an action movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But whereas this is like a hardcore.
This is a drama.
Yeah,
like this is a Western drama. Definitely not as many laughs as in like Django Unchained.
Right.
Django Unchained is way more kind of wacky, which is fine. It fits the tone of that movie, and I love Django Unchained. But this is a very different story. And I feel like he's never really done anything like it before. He's gone all out, and yet he's pulled back a little bit. So, is he maturing a bit as a filmmaker? He might be. So.
Well, I think his most difficult movie is Django, though, because Django had some funny moments, but it's also when it gets hard, it's so hard. Like the Mandingo fight, and when the guy's teared apart by dogs. You know what I mean? Like those scenes, truly. Like peer into the eye of like the horror of slavery, which I feel like this movie doesn't necessarily dip that deep into anything like that. I think it fits into his general filmography in the sense that it's like him doing another genre that people know, but he's doing the modern version of it. So this is his modern Western. That goes with Django, and then Inglourious Basterds is his World War II movie and crime movies and horror movies, all that.
Blaxploitation with Jackie Brown.
And Death Proof is a slasher.
Yeah.
So I think it fits perfectly into that sphere.
It's unquestionably a Tarantino movie, first and foremost.
Yeah.
But it's unlike anything he's ever done before.
Right.
And to rank it, it's hard to say. I do think my personal pick for my favorite Tarantino is Inglourious Basterds.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a phenomenal fucking story. And just great film. And then, Pulp Fiction is seminal. And then Reservoir Dogs is about as good a movie as you can come by in the 90s. So, it's like, that's like top 3 right there. Mm-hmm. With all the other ones in a jumbled mass of greatness right below it. Mm-hmm. So, again, it's hard for me. I really respect what he's done in this in terms of his maturity level as a writer, but also his expert staging of drama, of suspense, and weaving all those different themes in there in a really ugly, nasty, but great tapestry.
Right.
So once I see it again, I'll figure out where it fits in. Mm-hmm. But I think it's definitely better than some of his other films, I would say.
Well, like Jackie Brown, boom.
I like Jackie Brown.
Everyone likes Jackie Brown.
That's like the cool critics, like, oh, my favorite Tarantino film is Jackie Brown. Mm-hmm. That's like you're trying to be cool card.
Well, I think your favorite movie is Jackie Brown if you don't really like, and again, I'm using this word in a way I don't like to use it. If you don't like genre movies, right? Because that Jackie Brown is just a drama. It's a blaxploitation movie, but it's really just a drama, right?
Dolomite's not kicking white boys into trash cans.
Right, exactly. Which is what I fucking want. You know what I mean?
There's plenty of those out there.
Yeah.
You watch a Truck Turner with Isaac Hayes. Some white boys get beaten down.
I want to watch
Truck Turner.
I want to watch Coffee. I want to watch black ladies with big afros and bell bottoms karate chop motherfuckers to death. In the end, do you like this movie? Does it work?
Really like this movie. Need to see it again if I decide if I love it, but it absolutely does work in its own twisted world.
Yes. I agree with you 100%. I like it. I think it works. I think that some people will take issue with it. I mean, if you
Some people will hate this movie.
Right. And I think in some ways, legitimately, if it's too violent, you know what I mean? I think some people will think it's too weird. I think that some people will get upset that, you know, he's cheating, that there's, you know, it's an indulgence, it's, you know, whatever.
If your favorite Tarantino movie is like Kill Bill, then you're not going to like this film.
Really? You think so?
I don't think you're going to like it.
Well, my favorite Tarantino movie is Kill Bill, and I do like this movie.
What the fuck do I know?
Yeah,
Nothing, apparently.
Well, you know, you're right, bro.
I try.
You try. That's important.
Somebody help.
Well, because I like, again, and the third time I'm using this word in a way I don't like to use it. I like the genre fair, so I like a good kung fu movie. I like a good western.
You can do so much with genre. You can sneak in a lot of stuff into a genre.
That's what I'm saying, bro. If we're gonna talk about AIDS, fuck AIDS. Put zombies in there. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Genres like, I mean, that it was the French and like Truffaut and stuff who said, no, your genre cinema, like telling Americans, like your genre cinema is where your real masters are working.
Yeah.
Right now, your John Fords and your Anthony Manns. It's like they're the ones doing the really interesting work. Mm-hmm. So it can be interesting. It can be schlock, and because it's easy to make, but you can do a lot of stuff in the guise of a genre film.
Sure, and guys like me will, you know, look on the bright side, you know, of like, yeah, but there are zombies, so you know, how bad could it have been?
Exactly.
Looking at you, Zombie Lake. Any fan theories? You've already stated that you think that Michael Fassbender's distant relative is in this movie.
I mean, Hickok is. I mean, that name doesn't come up on accident. You know,
Mm-hmm. What was Fassbender's name? Hickok.
Hickok. Yeah, Archie Hickok. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a film critic fighting Nazis.
Yeah, man. I got nothing. I mean, obviously, Red Apple Cigarettes making another appearance.
In a way, that I'm going to throw that in nitpicks. That scene went on a little too long.
The haberdashery.
Where they're like, "Oh, Red Apple. Oh, that's my favorite." You know.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of fan service for the Tarantino files of the world, and you don't really need it. But maybe just because I know about the Red Apple cigarettes thing, and not everybody does. Maybe I just noticed that more.
Yeah, and I hope that someone writes a book that's just the Tarantino universe history, where it just, you know, recaps everything, and it's just like, you know, this guy's related to this guy, and this, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yep, it'll be out there someday.
Hopefully. Anything else? Any plugs?
I said just try and go see that 70mm version.
Yeah, by the time you listen to this, it's probably almost done, right?
It's probably, it's definitely a limited run. And,
you know, this is the kind of movie that definitely deserves, it's worth experiencing.
It does feel like an experience.
Oh, and last thing on this experience, the we've talked about how much we like the widescreen. Again, it being in film, I feel like my print had a scratch every now and again where it's like, I just don't want to see those fucking scratches, dude. I want it to be fucking crystal clear perfect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was kind of annoyed by that.
All right. I didn't mind it. Again, I feel like that's part of the thing. And we talked about that in the first half.
Sure, we did. I just think that it being on film, it doesn't add or subtract. It's just the fact that it's really wide, that's the fucking interesting part.
Cool.
Yeah.
So. Although there's a little bit of I just noticed it when you hear the projector go.
Yeah, I was
like, that just gives me an interesting feeling. You know, it's like it gave me an idea like I am watching something special.
I could not hear it. I think the installation at the ArcLight's a little bit newer.
If you're and I was towards the back of my landmark show, so I was closer to the projector. So, but yeah, you hear the film's going through it.
You know, Creature Features in Burbank played the Star Wars, 1977 Star Wars on 16mm.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been cool.
They didn't advertise it because I don't think you're legally allowed to do that. But
I would have gone.
Would have gone.
That's that movie Black Market, folks, that we get down here.
Yes.
We got the thing on, like slideshow.
An Super 8 of the assembly cut of the thing. All right, that's it. So. This episode, written by... You wrote this one?
I wrote this one.
Kevin. Hosted by Kevin. And also, me, Mr. Jibber Jabber. Listen to us every week. Our episodes normally come out on a Monday. I'll post them Sunday night, though, because I got to go to work on Monday morning. You know where to listen to us. You know where to find us. Happy trails, motherfuckers.
Happy trails.
And first episode of the new year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hopefully this year is better than last year. Last year sucked. This year, good. That's it every year.
I had an okay last year.
All right.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I feel
we'll talk about it in the year-end episode.
We'll talk about that in the year-end episode. I feel like you just got to look at every year. Last year sucked. This year is going to be better. But maybe I'm also a curmudge. See you later, everybody.
You mudge you.
Speaking of the thing, the Hateful Eight will also feature an original score by legendary composer Ennio
Morricone.
Will also feature a original score by legendary composer. Fuck. Okay. You say that. You want to say that?
So